Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Rosetta Ann, and I wanted to show you guys how I edit skin. So today I have an image. This is a recent maternity shoot that I did. And usually when I'm editing skin, the very first thing that I will do is I will create a duplicate layer, and then I go in here to, I forget what that's called, is it like a patch tool or and then I go in here and I just like pull off any blemishes that I find. I already did this on this image, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip that step and come up here and go ahead and just flatten that image real quick. The second thing that I do after I've taken off all of the blemishes is I go into my frequency separation action and I go ahead and play that action. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjust this where I think it should be. So after I've run my frequency separation layer, I go down here to the bottom layer, and then I go in and I go to my lasso tool, and I'm gonna be using Command F to apply the blur layer. And it's only gonna be affecting the color. It's not gonna be affecting the texture. It will just help blend the colors a little better so that splotchy skin, uneven tones just look smoother all around. So I started with this and I have this, and you can see like on the arms and stuff, it just smooths it out just a little bit more, and it didn't do a ton to the face, but I already went over this before I started this video, so I didn't need a ton to be done. Now the other thing I do in frequency separation is right above my bottom layer, this covers just the colors, I create a blank layer, and then I go in, go to my brush tool, I keep my flow at 3% for this and my opacity at 100, and then I'm gonna go in and use my Alt or Option to get this little syringe guy and pull a lighter color off of her face. And the reason I'm pulling the lighter color off her face is because what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be brushing in some of these darker areas to really lighten that up. And if I just use black or white, it would change the color. It would change the saturation and the color of the actual skin. It wouldn't look as realistic. So I'm using this lighter color here to really pull in and lighten these areas up. Now the cool thing is when you are using frequency separation for this, it's so awesome because you can separate the color tones and you can separate the details of the face. So I'm actually doing this just over the colors. So it's not really messing with the textures at all, which is really awesome. Then you don't get this like artificial smoothed out look, you know, you get more of a realistic skin texture feel to it. It does take some time, so be ready to invest some time if you guys want to do this technique. This is the technique that I use on all the images that I edit. Okay, let me just kind of see what we got going here. We zoom out a little bit. So we went from this to this, and I might let some of it remain in there, like I might erase some of it, but right now I'm just gonna continue to work. I'm gonna grab some down here, and you want, if you're working on a face, you wanna grab off of her face, the lighter areas of her face, to really work with the skin tones on her face. But if you move to a completely different area, you wanna grab something off of that area. And really what we're doing with light initially is we're just shaping the face. We're allowing the viewer to see what we want them to see. And that's the coolest thing, is it's like, you know, it doesn't have to be the end of your photo. Once the photo is snapped and taken by your camera, you have so much room to perfect it and make it this piece of art. You know, so I really encourage you guys, just play around with it. It takes time to nail down like exactly what you want your image to look like and how much editing you want to do. But for me, I like to go a little crazy on it. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and close that group down. The other thing that I do for the skin is after I have gone through and cleaned up the blemishes, I'm gonna go ahead and, oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's back up here. All right, so I'm gonna go and flatten this image together, and I'm gonna open frequency separation one more time here. I'm just gonna open it on a lower setting than I normally do, maybe just like 8. And so this frequency separation, instead of going to just the colors, I'm gonna go to just the textures and go to my lasso tool. And I'm going to come in here. The reason being is my client wanted these areas to be a little bit softer. She felt like, you know, it was a few more, too many wrinkles. So we're gonna lighten that up just a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead, and this is obviously way too blurry, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go here and I'm gonna lower the opacity to whatever I want, just to like soften that up just a little more. Let me just find my fine line here. Just so that when she sees the photo, that's not what she sees, you know? Gotta make the client happy. So we're just gonna soften that up just a little bit, and that will make a huge difference in the end. So now that I've gotten that, I'm gonna go ahead and close that group down. The other thing I do for the skin, in photos, I think it's really important that we create dimension in the photos. So one thing I do to create dimension is for my skin, I create a layer and I change the blending mode to soft light. And then I'm gonna go to my brush and do black and white. I'm gonna start on white, and my opacity is gonna be at 5% and my flow at 100. I'm gonna zoom in. I usually start on the face, and I'm gonna use light, start bigger, and where natural highlights would fall, I'm gonna kind of like create like this gradient of highlights coming in on her face. So naturally, if you guys do makeup, maybe you understand this concept when you're contouring the face, you wanna like bring the highlights on here and maybe up here and up here, you know, just creating that dimension where you can control what the viewer sees and how the face looks. So that's what I do. I'm gonna highlight underneath the chin, on the chin, I should say, a little bit. And I can always go through, if I overdo something, I can always go through and erase a little bit if I want to. So I'm just gonna pull that in a little bit. I do like to do right above the eyes here, underneath the brow, on that brow bone. I try to highlight that with makeup, but you guys, I'm still such a learner. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna even lighten this up just a little more. And then as far as the arms go, where light would naturally fall, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight that. And over here, since we don't really have a direct light, I'm just gonna like go down the middle just so it looks more round, and like highlight the middle just a little bit, and then it will give it like a little more dimension to her arm. Instead of it looking more flat, it will actually look round. The cool thing with like making arms and stuff look round, it actually makes people appear to be thinner as well. So you really can't go wrong with this technique. It really just helps in every aspect. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and stick with that. So that is pretty much what I do for skin, guys. I lied. I'm almost done. I just want to touch up a couple. So once I've actually got the skin contoured with light in Photoshop, after makeup, after all that other jazz, I go ahead, and the last thing that I do after I've toned my photo and everything is I go in here and I create a solid layer, and I'm gonna go probably about like, maybe like here. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna do soft lights. Now then I'm going to double click, hold my option key down and pull it out, pull this dark color out of the lights. All the way up, I can kind of choose where I want it. I want it to like affect the shadows of her face and the edges of her arms, because I'm really just like picking her skin tone, like what I want her skin to look like. So maybe like right in there. So after I've created this one, then I'm gonna go in here and create another one. And this is gonna be for the highlights of her face. So you don't want it too red. Maybe like something that's a little desaturated. Sorry, soft light, that's where I'm going. A little off track. I'm gonna hold the Option key in again. I'm gonna pull that back and then kind of like just pick where I want my whites, my highlights to go. And that will touch, and let me just do this real quick as well. So, let me pull these above. I just did a boo-boo. Okay, let me grab this. No, that's not what I do. Okay, so when I do this, it gives me, let me go back in here and touch this a little bit. It gives me the power to pick the skin tones that I'm putting into the skin and to really choose what I want to do there. I can change this. I can go into the darks here, which are really the dark areas of her face and arms. I can go in here and I can make them orange. I could put more reds in there. I could pull blues in. I can do a lot of those different things. But for this, you can really just play around with it. I can pull it up. I can go into the blues if I want there to be more of a cool tone to her skin, which looks nice, you know? And then you can play with how much of that you allow it to touch her skin, like this. If you want barely any, or if you want a lot, you can play with it just like that. And that is something that I found that I really like for adjusting the skin tones in my photos. So I still have quite a bit of editing to do, and I'm gonna tweak these and play with these. But that is basically how I edit skin, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and if you have any questions or comments or ideas or things you'd like me to make videos about, please let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys. I'd love to get your input, to hear about any cool tips and things that you do when you edit your photos. How do you like to edit your skin? I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know if you'd like me to make you more and what you'd like me to cover in the next video. I really appreciate that, guys. So give it a thumbs up, go subscribe, and go follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Maybe see some more of my behind the scenes real life. Thanks guys so much. We'll see you next time.